Welcome back to another episode of Green Card Insights, where we cover any updates and trends related to employment-based green cards. And today's episode is one of our monthly recurring episodes where we talk about the Visa Bulletin. So we'll go over the new Visa Bulletin for January 2025, and we'll see, what updates there are, if any, and we'll inform you of any, changes and things to look out for in the following Visa Bulletins as well. Okay, so as always, I'll go ahead and share my screen so that we can compare the Visa Bulletins side by side. And so give me 1 second here. Okay, so my screen should be sharing now. And you'll see on the left side, we have the December 2024 Visa Bulletin, which is what we covered in the previous episode. And on the right side, we have January 2025's Visa Bulletin, which is what we'll be going over today to see what changes have been made. So before, each of these episodes, I think it's important also to distinguish between both of the tables that we'll be talking about. So Table A is referred to as the final action dates for employment-based preference cases. And then when you scroll down, we see Table B, which is the dates for filing of employment-based visa applications. And so the title of those tables basically, describe exactly what they are used for. So Table B is used to determine when you would be eligible or allowed to submit an adjustment of status application for your case based on the priority date listed in the table. So what that means is if you are a Indian national, let's say, who has applied for the EB1, and if your priority date is, let's say, the 1st of April 2022, then you are now eligible to submit your adjustment of status application based on this Visa Bulletin right here. When you scroll up to Table A, the final action dates, what this states, these dates you'll see are a little bit earlier than the dates in Table B. And this table basically determines when USCIS will take a final decision or final action on your case to approve that green card. So what that means is, even though, let's say hypothetically, we just said if your priority date is 1st of April 2022, you're an Indian national and you submitted your adjustment of status application, it will not get approved and it will not get that final decision until Table A also reflects a priority date that is past 1st of April 2022. So that's how that works. And the benefit of having Table B to determine the dates for filing, the benefit of that is that you would also be allowed to submit your I-765 and your I-131 form, which is submitted along with the I-485 adjustment of status application. The I-765 is a work authorization form, and the I-131 is a travel authorization form. And so the dates for filing chart will allow you to submit your adjustment of status application with those two important benefits, and you'd be applying for those two important benefits, right? And in most cases, while you're waiting for your priority date to become current on Table A, you will have an approved EAD, employment authorization document, through that approved I-765, and or a combo card or an approved I-131 document as well, so that you would have travel authorization, so you can travel freely in and out of the U.S. while your green card application is still pending and waiting to be approved. And so what we like to see is, we'd like to see that USCIS will use Table B to determine when we can file your adjustment of status application, and they kind of switch between Table B and Table A. It's a bit inconsistent in that sense. However, as we can see here on USCIS's page, they've said and stated that for employment-based preference filings for January 2025, we must use the dates for filing chart in the Department of State Visa Bulletin. So what that means, again, is that we are now, for 2025, we are allowed to use Table B to determine when to file your adjustment of status application. And that's good news because Table B's dates are further along in the Visa Bulletin, or further along in terms of progression compared to Table A. Table A's dates are slightly more retrogressed. Now that we've gone over those concepts, we'll go ahead and compare the dates and see, what updates there have been, if any, right? So for January 2025's Visa Bulletin, this was a, very much a highly anticipated Visa Bulletin as well, right after our October 2024 Visa Bulletin, because this is the start of a new fiscal quarter. So this is the start of Q2. And, typically we've seen trends now with the Department of State kind of following a quarterly pattern in terms of significantly advancing some of those dates in the Visa Bulletin. So we expected to see more significant advancement in the Visa Bulletin for January 2025, and unfortunately that didn't seem to be the case. Not quite. There was some modest movement in Table A, and we'll go over that right now. So Table A, final action dates for employment-based cases. If you are applying in the EB1 category, then the first row is what you would be looking at, and you'll see that all chargeability areas except those listed current across both Visa Bulletins. That's great. And everything else remains the same. So China and India, the priority dates remain the same. Mexico and Philippines remain current for the EB1, which is the first preference category of the employment-based green cards. Now, looking at the EB2, so employment-based second preference, this is in relation to the EB2 and IW green cards, for example. So if we look here, you'll see that under all chargeability areas except those listed, for December 2024, it's at 15 March 2023. For January 2025, there's about a 2-week movement into 1st of April 2023. So very, very slight advancement, very slight movement. But if there's anyone who was, stuck with a priority date between 15 March of 2023 and 1st of April 2023, this is great news for them. So because that basically means that they're now eligible to apply for the adjustment of status application. And actually, sorry to correct myself, their green card application is now eligible for that final action, which is hopefully an approval. So that is for all chargeability areas except those listed. Then when we move on to China, in December 2024, it was 22 March 2020. And for next month's Visa Bulletin, we have a 1-month advancement, which is great. So it's 22 April 2020. Going back to December 2024, for India, it was 1st of August 2012. This is one of the most retrogressed dates, right? EB2s for India. It was at 1st of August 2012. And for January 2025's Visa Bulletin, it's advanced, pretty significantly for this category because this one typically moves painfully slow. And now it's at 1st of October 2012. So that was some significant advancement, at least for EB2 India. But of course, we're still looking at a 12-year backlog because we're in 2024 heading into 2025. So almost, 12 to 13-year backlog. So for Mexico, we see similar movement. For Mexico and Philippines both, we see similar movement by about 2 weeks from 15 March 2023 into 1st of April 2023 across the EB2 category. So similar to all chargeability areas except those listed, it's pretty minor, but still good for anyone who might have been stuck in that limbo between 15 March 2023 and 1st of April 2023. So those are the 2 preference categories that we typically cover because these are the ones that, would cover the EB1As, EB1Bs, EB2s. But, really quickly at a glance, we can also see that there is some movement across the EB3 category as well. This is the perm category for anyone who is petitioned by an employer. That would be the EB3. And so there is some movement here as well, which is very good. And these are in the final action dates again. So now we'll scroll down into the dates for filing. And again, we use table B, dates for filing, to determine when we can submit your adjustment of status application. The table that we just covered was when, basically, dictated when USCIS could take a final decision on your case because the green card is available for you, right? So now looking at table B, the dates for filing chart, I think I've gone over this a couple times now, and there is absolutely no movement at all for either the employment-based first preference category or the second preference category. There's simply no movement at all with these two rows, which is not the best news and definitely not what we were anticipating or looking forward to, just because it means that, none of our current clients who have been waiting for their priority date to become current can move forward because there's no advancement at all in the dates for filing, meaning that we cannot even submit an application for anyone whose priority date is after the ones listed here at this time. So there's been no movement here at all, which is quite disappointing, just because we, are very much looking forward to submitting these adjustment of status applications so that we can ensure that, our clients remain in lawful permanent status, as I'm sure any of you are as well if you're closely following the Visa Bulletin. So not the best news, but we are hoping to see, more change as the quarter goes on. So hopefully, if not February, in March of 2025, we're hoping that that Visa Bulletin will have a little bit more advancement for the dates for filing charts so that we can file more adjustment of status applications for, our clients, but also for, anyone who might be waiting on that Visa Bulletin to go current. So that kind of wraps up the changes for the Visa Bulletin for January 2025. There weren't, very significant changes. Just to recap, right? There were minor advancements in the dates in the final action table, which is still good. And I'm sure that there is a, a significant portion of people who were waiting between that 15 March of 2023 and that 1st of April 2023 mark to have their green cards approved. So congratulations to everyone who has gotten their green card approved as a result of these minor shifts. And we'll be sure to update you on February 2025's Visa Bulletin as soon as that becomes available. So thank you everyone for watching, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and definitely follow along for more Visa Bulletin updates. Thank you. Bye-bye.